The mortar can be carried by one man and set up on nearly every type of terrain. However, it's easier to use if you put it on a flat, hard surface and close to a resupply. After deploying the mortar, by using the fire or left-click button, you can fire straight away. To raise a shell to the tube, use the fire button. To fire the shell, hit your fire button again. If you see friendlies in the target zone, or your spotter tells you to stop firing, you can lower the shell again by hitting the secondary fire key. To adjust the direction the mortar is facing, use the left and right keys. Both hands are required to turn the mortar, so you cannot do this whilst firing. There are two ways of adjusting the range. The easiest way to get the distance right is by changing the angle of the tube. You can set the angle to anything between 45 and 75 degrees. In-game, the angle of the tube is adjusted by using the forward and backward keys. To get a bigger angle, use forward. For a smaller angle, use backward. The bigger the angle, the shorter the range. So a lower angle, of say 45 degrees, will give a longer range. You can also adjust the collar at the base of the tube. This regulates the pressure that builds up in the tube when the shell is fired. With fully open vents, the standard setting, you get a shorter range than with fully closed vents. The vents are operated by the lean keys. Lean left to open the vent for shorter ranges, lean right to close it for longer ranges. By adjusting the angle of the tube and the vents, you can vary the range of the mortar from anything between 50 and 920 meters. If you have to move away from the mortar position for a short time, you don't have to undeploy it. Hit the use key and the mortar will remain where it was. To take the mortar with you, use the bayonet attachment key, F. Since the amount of shells you carry is limited, it is always a good idea to deploy close to ammo caches. You can also get more shells if your spotter resupplies you. The spotter is there to support the mortar crew by guarding his flanks and supplying him with information about targets and correcting his aim. A spotter can select the mortar crewman he wants to work with. Each mortar crewman can have only one spotter. Once the spotter selects a mortar crewman, both will be awarded the same amount of points for any kills the mortar makes. To get the points though, the spotter has to continuously supply the mortar with information and also stay within a certain radius of the mortar, about 15 meters. A spotter can select the player he wants to work with if the player is visible and within a 15-meter radius. He does so by hitting the barrel change key, which is B by default, and selecting the player by using the number keys in a way similar to the voice command menu. The menu can be closed by hitting the B key again. Once the player is selected, the spotter enters the main spotter menu. It allows him to give the mortar crewman instructions. The commands on this menu are as follows. Fire, telling the mortar crewman to start firing. Correct fire, telling him if his shells are falling short, much too short, a little to the left or right, or much too far to the left or right, or falling over or way too far over. These options are selected from a submenu. Cease fire, telling the mortar crewman to stop firing. Tell distance or direction. This command passes information about the distance and direction of the target to the mortar crewman. Clicking fire on the target whilst using the binoculars gives an estimate of the distance and the direction of the target. The distance is given to assist the mortar crewman in determining the distance by eye, and the direction is automatically generated by the direction the spotter was looking through the binoculars. The direction will be one of 16 compass points: north, north-northeast, northeast, northeast-east, etc., all round the compass. Select New Link. The spotter starts supplying information to a different mortar crewman within his operating radius. A spotter stops spotting for a mortar crewman when he is too far away for too long, when he doesn't give any information, or when he selects a new mortar crewman. In addition to supplying the mortar crewman with information about the target, another vital function of the spotter is to supply the crewman with ammunition. He can supply him with shells in the same way as men can resupply machine guns, and he can also restock his own supply of shells by going to an ammo cache. In this way he can transport ammunition to the mortar.